Hey guys, it is Kevin here in Beijing, China, and I realized what's going to happen. This happened last time I made a video when the direction I'm walking in, the sun is behind my back, so sorry about the solar flares, lens flares, what that happened. So Kevin here in China, that, my folks, is a kendama. That's a Japanese skill toy, something that's been taking up a lot of my time lately. Love the kendama. Love it, love it, love it. I've been playing it a lot. It is a skill toy, so it's kind of like juggling. It takes a lot of practice, I'm playing every day for a long time. I'm committing to it. I want to become a very good kendama player in the future. In the next few years, hopefully I can become a pretty good kendama player. So yeah, it's great. It's awesome. I started a kendama club at my school here in Beijing. I bought a whole bunch of kendama. I've been teaching kids. I had 3 kendama workshops the other day for grade 2 students, and they loved it so much. They had a lot of fun. So yeah, so if you're curious what one is, a kendama, just go to YouTube and type in the word kendama and you'll see. Also, I've been making some videos of me doing tricks and pictures of kendama and stuff. It's a very Japanese thing, but if you want to see all that stuff, all my kendama content's over on Instagram. So if you don't already follow me on Instagram, go there at JLandKev, at JLandKev. And yeah, so that's that. Now what I wanted to talk about today, it's an education-based video. I want to talk about different types of international schools, what they are and what it's like to work at them. But mainly I wanted to talk about 2 distinctly different types of international schools, one called bilingual schools and another being just kind of a straight-up international school. And what a bilingual school is a school, they have them in China, they have them in Korea, they have them in Japan. It is a type of school where normally a local child would go there, like a native child. So if it's in Japan, a Japanese kid would go. And the schools are predominantly, if not exclusively, Japanese students, or here in China, Chinese students. And they study in 2 languages, English and their native language. So I'm going to use an example of Japan, because that's where I worked. And I worked at a bilingual school for many years. And the model of a bilingual school is the day is basically kind of divided up into 2 sections, or it's a very kind of Swiss cheese approach where it's one class with an international teacher speaking in English, the next class it's a Japanese class, often covering the same curriculum, the same content, but maybe, so for example, they're doing math, maybe they're doing a unit on measurement, non-standard, standard measurement units, and they'll have a class in English and they'll do it later on in the day in Japanese. Now that's not where I work now. I don't work at a school like that. I work at a school where I am 100% the homeroom teacher, just me. I run the show. So I teach kids all day long, elementary school teacher, so I teach all subjects. I'm a generalist. They are with me from first thing in the morning until the afternoon when they leave. I'm responsible for everything aside from specialty classes. So for example, we have an art teacher, we have a music teacher, we have PE teachers. I'm not qualified to teach that kind of stuff. But yeah, so that's the model of the thing. So we, now, I myself absolutely prefer the model that I'm at right now. And there's a lot of different reasons, but I'll talk about a few. First of all, if the focus is to have the children speak English, having them in a school where half the day is using their native tongue, it doesn't work so well. Because no matter what kind of encouragement you give, positive, negative, rewards, they tend to not use English. They will use English when interacting with you and you, that only. Like, so for example, during a class, if they're asked a question directly in English, they'll answer in English. But aside from that, they're just going to use their native language, whether it be Chinese or Japanese, when they're talking to each other, having discussions in class, doing group work, lunchtime, recess, just basically all day long. So I personally think that the language growth is extremely minimal. There's nothing immersive about it. So that's one issue. Another issue I find is got to do with behavior and behavior management. Because the way it works when you are the only teacher of a group of students is that you build a rapport with them. You are their teacher, you become their teacher, your parents know you as their teacher, and that's it. So like basically, when you build a rapport with them, a relationship, and you're teaching them all day, you're with them every day, ideally there's more respect for you, or there is a respect. They do have respect for you. Hold on a second here, guys. I'm gonna focus while I cross the road. Easy to get hit by stuff here in Beijing. So yeah, so you build this rapport with these kids. Therefore, if you have a strong rapport, a strong relationship, you know a lot about them, they trust you. If they trust you, ideally behavior will be better. If they have any issues, they'll open up to you more. There's more respect, and also the parents of those children know that you are exclusively their teacher. So ideally, in a perfect world, there's respect there as well. But at a bilingual school, what tends to happen is because in the day it's a Swiss cheese schedule, and they have a Japanese teacher or the Chinese teacher and the international teacher back and forth, neither teacher gets to really establish that rapport well. So I find that there tends to be more issues with discipline, with classroom management. Also, if there is more respect, the children are going to normally give it to the native teacher. So if you're in Japan, the kids are all Japanese, they're probably going to respect that Japanese teacher more than you, simply because they speak the native language. They have I'm going to use air quotes, a better understanding of their culture, their viewpoint, where they're coming from. Some of the native teachers tend to be dismissive of the international teachers, even if you have more experience than they do, just because they simply, and this is something that's continuously frustrated me over the years, was that they're just like, well, you just don't get it. You just don't understand the kids. You don't understand the people because you're not from here, which is really dismissive and rude and arrogant to think that way or talk that way. So now also, earlier on I mentioned parents. What I found over the years was that parents also lacked respect for the international teacher. They tended to respect the Japanese teacher, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that a lot of the parents couldn't speak English, so they couldn't actually communicate with you. You couldn't communicate with them well, and they could communicate with the Japanese teacher, and that Japanese teacher, air quotes, understood them. So it can be frustrating, and there's a million other things that go on and on. Now, my school that I'm currently at right now, which I love my school, it's a great school, it's a fantastic school. What I really like about it is that I'm given the opportunity to have the freedom to thrive as a teacher, to grow as much as I want to, spread my wings, so to speak. And if I want to start a club, like I did, I started a nature and conservation club. They're just like, go for it. You know, they're really supportive of all the things I do, and I get a pat on the back, high fives, all that stuff for the things I do. So it makes me want to do more. Whereas in, you know, I didn't feel that way. It was so, and there's the thing too. Like I think the kind of the one-off international schools are the ones where, for example, the children are not supposed to be local children. I think, and there's rules to that. I think in Korea they call them foreign schools, where the students are not allowed to be from Korea, or only a very small percentage of them are allowed to be from Korea. The rest have to be from outside. Which makes sense. I mean, if you are traveling, if you're like working for a big company or this or that, and you're from America or Canada, and you want your kids to go to international school so they can study in English the same as they would back home, you know, I get it. So, yeah, bilingual schools. And again, they have them in all countries. They're definitely a more challenging place to work at. I feel, personally, that I think a lot of the kids don't get the language exposure that they should if they're expected to be fluent in English. And I find that there is a lot of room for behavior issues because there often be a lack of respect for teachers due to the fact that they're not native, and there's communication issues. So for example, like in my school, like all the parents have to go through me 100%. They want to communicate with they got there's stuff going on, it comes to me because I'm the teacher. I like that. I like being in control of my own ship, captain of my own ship, in charge of my own destiny. All right, guys. So I'm gonna go home now and finish recording episode 188 of the Just Japan podcast. Links to that are below in the doobly-doo. Remember to hit the bell button if you want my videos to pop into your subscription box. Remember to like the video if you do like it. And of course, all that kendama stuff I talked about is over on my Instagram at JLandKev, at JLandKev. Check out, there's a lot of other cool stuff there too. So, I bet a lot of you guys aren't following me on Instagram. You should. All right, later guys. Kevin here in Beijing. Oh, and I'm gonna be in Japan on the 17th of June, just a few days from now, for a couple of weeks. Can't wait, I'll be in Kobe. And there's gonna be the Just Japan podcast meetup on June 22nd at 6 p.m. at the Harbor Tavern in Sanomiya in Kobe, Japan. So be there, be square.